Good evening. Namaste to my dear students, my viewers, and others. You all are welcome to Genius Lakshya, which is a unique platform for all the competitive examinations in general, but particularly we are focusing on UPSC, GPSC, NDA, and CDS. And I have been coming to you with so many topics every day. One lecture for junior, one is for senior, and today we will discuss, we'll understand, we will know the functions of State Public Service Commission. The functions of Joint State Public Service Commission. In my previous session, we discussed Union Public Service Commission, its functions, its compositions. We discussed many important things on the Union Public Service Commission. In the similar way, we have State Public Service Commission. The Union Public Service Commission takes care of all India services, central government services. In the similar way, in the same method, in the same process, the State Public Service Commission takes care of the state level examinations. Because you know that the central level jobs are there, state government level jobs are there, all India services are there. So, the State Public Service Commission is like Union Public Service Commission. But the scope of State Public Service Commission is confined to a particular state. Whereas the Union Public Service Commission is not confined to a particular state, it is confined to the whole country. This is the fundamental distinction between the State Public Service Commission and Union Public Service Commission. Also, we will understand the third one, that is Joint State Public Service Commission. Third one, we will understand what is Joint State Public Service Commission. Also, we will understand its function. We will understand the limitations of Public Service Commission, State Public Service Commission, Joint Public Service Commission. Fundamentally, all these are recruiting agencies. The function of the State Public Service Commission, Joint State Public Service Commission, Union Public Service Commission are to conduct examinations for the various positions, for various posts. That is the main task of these organizations, of these agencies. Also, we will understand the tenure of the chairman and members of these agencies. So let's start the presentation of the day. Whether it is visible and audible, kindly let me know soon. Union Public Service Commission, part number 2, because yesterday we have already discussed the Union Public Service Commission, its function, its composition, we have already discussed. So yes, it is visible and audible. Be there, understand the topic, because you are going to be one of the officers and you are going to be appear the examination conducted by Union Public Service Commission. So you should know what is UPSC, its composition, and for state level it is State Public Service Commission. The State Public Service Commission, SPSC, performs all those functions in respect of the central service. Whether a right statement or wrong statement, let me know soon. Then the State Public Service Commission conducts various examinations for the appointments of the services of the center. Third, the State Public Service Commission takes care of the suitability of a candidate, whether the candidate is suitable for a particular post or appointments to the civil services, posts, for promotions, for transfer from one service to another service. So whether this is a right statement or wrong statement, the State Public Service Commission represents report annually to the President of India on its performance, right or wrong, The governor of a state places the report submitted by a state public service commission before both the houses of the parliament. Then the Constitution of India, our Indian Constitution, visualizes the State Public Service Commission to be a watchdog of merit system. That means the State Public Service Commission looks after the merit system in the state. Then the State Public Service Commission is concerned with the classification of services. It is concerned about the payment, service conditions, cadre management, training, etc. So, yes or no? It is up to the state. It is up to the state government to accept or to reject that advice given by the State Public Service Commission. Then a joint State Public Service Commission can be created by an act of parliament on the request of state legislature, the concerned state legislature. Right statement or wrong? A joint state public service commission presents its annual performance report to each of the concerned state governors. So, these are all 10 statements from today's presentation. Based on your current understanding on the topic, you should answer, then you will get all the answers from the presentation itself, and I will get back to you and I will give you the answer. So let's start the presentation, and we'll start from the function of State Public Service Commission. The State Public Service Commission performs all those functions in respect of the state services. So, State Public Service Commission is for state services. As the Union Public Service Commission is for central services. Then what does it do? The State Public Service Commission conducts examinations for the appointments to the services of the state. So it is an agency, it is an organization which conducts examinations for the state level jobs and services. At the same time, the State Public Service Commission conducts many personal management tasks. Let's see. All matters relating to methods of examination for the recruitment to civil services and for civil posts are the responsibility of the State Public Service Commission. Also, it is responsible for the principles to be followed in making appointments, what rules and regulations should be followed for appointments to the civil servants or to the various civil services posts, and in making promotions and transfers from one service to another services. All these are the responsibility or the areas of responsibility of the State Public Service Commission. Then the suitability of the candidate, whether the candidate is suitable for a particular post. That is suitability of a candidate for appointments to civil services and posts. Also, the State Public Service Commission is responsible for promotions, transfer of job from one place to another place, from one service to another service, and appointments by transfer or on deputation. All these are important responsibilities of State Public Service Commission. The concerned departments make recommendations for promotions and request to the State Public Service Commission to ratify them. And also the State Public Service Commission is responsible regarding the disciplinary matters. All disciplinary matters affecting a person serving under the government of the state in a civil capacity, including memorials or petition relating to such matters, are taken care of by the State Public Service Commission. Regarding censure, withhold of increment, if the increment of salaries has been withheld, withholding the promotions, recovery of pecuniary loss, reduction to lower service rank, all these are disciplinary matters, and these disciplinary matters are taken care of by the State Public Service Commission. Also, the State Public Service Commission takes care of compulsory retirements, removal from service, dismissal from service, and any claim for reimbursement of legal expenses incurred by a civil servant. For example, a civil servant has spent some amount of money for the legal matter during his defending legal proceedings instituted against him in respect of acts done in the execution of his official duties. These are taken care of by State Public Service Commission. Also, it takes care of matter like any claim for award of the pension in respect of injuries sustained by a person while serving under the government of the state at any position on the amount any such award. Means if a person meets with an accident or injuries during the service time at the workplace, these are the matters taken care of by State Public Service Commission. Then any other matter related to personal management are also taken care of by State Public Service Commission. Then the Supreme Court has held that if the government fails to consult the State Public Service Commission in all these matters that we discussed, the aggrieved public servant means a servant, a public officer, a public government officer suffering from has no remedy in a court. A State Public Service Commission represents reports. It prepares a report, it represents a report every year to the governor of the state. And the governor places this annual report prepared by the State Public Service Commission before the houses of state legislature in the Vidhan Sabha or Vidhan Parishad or in both, the governor submits this report. Then, along with the memorandum explaining the cases where the advices of the commission was not accepted and reason of non-acceptance. So the advice given by the State Public Service Commission are generally accepted or not accepted. It is up to the state government. So the State Public Service Commission has various challenges, various limitations, various disadvantages. So what are the challenges, limitations and disadvantages of State Public Service Commission? Let's see. The State Public Service Commission is not consulted on following matters. Means government does not consult State Public Service Commission on various matters like while making reservation of appointments or posts in favor of scheduled caste and scheduled tribe people. The government does not consult the State Public Service Commission, does not take any advice of the State Public Service Commission regarding the reservation of posts or appointments for scheduled castes and scheduled tribes. Also, while taking into consideration claims of scheduled caste and scheduled tribe in making appointment to service and post, government does not take any advice or does not consult State Public Service Commission. So it is a challenge. It is a limitation of State Service Commission. And the governor can exclude. Governor has the power the government can exclude posts, services, and matters from the purview of the State Public Service Commission. So again, it is a limitation of the State Public Service Commission because governor has power to take away posts, services, and various matters from the State Public Service Commission. The Constitution states that the governor, in respect to the state public services and posts, may make regulations specifying matters in which it shall not necessary for state public to be consulted. Means, according to the Indian Constitution, the governor may not take advice, may not consult State Public Service Commission while making regulations on various matters. So again, it says that State Public Service Commission is weak. Now we will understand the role of State Public Service Commission. The Constitution visualizes the State Public Service Commission to be a watchdog of merit system. So, the main job of State Public Service Commission is to take care of the merit system in the state government jobs. It is concerned with the recruitment, to the state services, advises the government when consulted on promotion and disciplinary matters. So government when takes the advice of the State Public Service Commission, then State Public Service Commission advises the government regarding the state services, regarding the promotion, regarding the disciplinary matter. The State Public Service Commission is not concerned with the classification of services, the pay scale of services, the service condition of the officer, the cadre management, training. All these are not the responsibility of the State Public Service Commission. These matters are handled by Department of Personnel. There is a department of personnel, or we can say a general administration department. So this department takes care of classification of service, pay band, service condition, cadre management, training. All these are the responsibility of Department of Personnel. And this Department of Personnel is a central personnel agency. It is a central agency. It works for the whole country. Central agency in the state. The role of State Public Service Commission is not only limited, but also recommendation made by it are only advisory by nature. Again, this is a weakness or challenge of State Public Service Commission because it is an advisory body, it gives advices, but government has a choice whether the government wants to follow the advice given by the State Public Service Commission or government may reject it. It is up to the state government whether it can accept it, whether it can reject it. The advice given by State Public Service Commission. Also, the emergence of State Vigilance Commission means when State Vigilance Commission is a different department, it came into existence in the year 1964. So after that, there was a clash of advice between the State Vigilance Commission and the State Public Service Commission regarding disciplinary matters. This is because both State Public Service Commission and State Vigilance Commission are consulted by the government while taking discipline action against a civil servant. Whenever government wants to take any action, any disciplinary action against an officer, against a civil servant, at that time government takes the advice of State Public Service Commission and State Vigilance Commission, and then both may conflict because both will advise the government. So the problem arises when two bodies means SPSC and SBC give advice to the government. Whenever the State Public Service Commission is being an independent body, it is a constitutional body, has an edge over the State Vigilance Commission. It means State Vigilance Commissioner has less power and State Public Service Commission has more power here. How? Because it is an independent body and it is a constitutional body. Finally, the State Public Service Commission is consulted by the governor while framing rules for appointment for judicial services. So all the services relating to judiciary, at that time, the governor consults or takes the advices from the State Public Service Commission of the state other than the post of district judge. When it is a matter of district judge, at that time, State Public Service Commission has no role except district judge. All the judicial services are a matter of State Public Service Commission because governor consults State Public Service Commission while framing rules for the appointment. In this regard, the concerned state high court are also consulted. So governor will consult State Public Service Commission and the high court of the state. Then let's see a new recruiting agency, that is Joint State Public Service Commission, JSPSC. The Constitution of India makes a provision for the establishment of Joint State Public Service Commission for two or more states. State Public Service Commission takes care of its state only, but Joint State Public Service Commission is framed between two states or among the states. So the UPSC, SPSC are created directly by the Constitution of India, and Joint State Public Service Commission has not been created directly by the Constitution of India, but it can be created by the Act of Parliament. Means Parliament can create it by passing an act. When a state or many states request the Parliament to create a joint State Public Service Commission. So a Joint State Public Service Commission is not a constitutional body, but it is a statutory body and not a constitutional body. The two states, this is the example, Punjab and Haryana had a joint commission for the civil services. That was Joint State Public Service Commission, but it was for a short period of time after the creation of the Haryana out of Punjab in 1966. Also, the chairman and the members of the Joint State Public Service Commissions are appointed by the President of India. And the chairman and the members of the Joint State Public Service Commission hold office for a term of 6 years or until they attain the age of 62. For UPSC, as we discussed, that the term is again 6 years, but here it is 65 years, whichever is earlier. The chairman and the members can be suspended. They can be removed by the President of India. At the same time, the chairman and the members of the State Public Service Commission or Joint State Public Service Commission, they can resign from their office by submitting the resignation letter to the President of India. The number of member of Joint State Public Service Commission and their condition of service are determined by the President. So the President decides the service, the condition of the service, how many members will be there in Joint State Public Service Commission are decided by the President. The Joint State Public Service Commission presents annual report like State Public Service Commission on the performance to the state governor, and each governor of the report places the report before the state legislature. So JSPSC submits the report to the governor and governor submits the report to the state legislature. The UPSC can also serve the need of the state on the request of the state governor and with the approval of the president. For example, there is a state. That state requests the Union Public Service Commission and the governor requests the Union Public Service Commission, and with the permission of the President of India, Union Public Service Commission can give the service to a state. Otherwise, Union Public Service Commission is for the entire nation. Let's see some of the historical facts. As provided by the Government of India Act 1999, the Central Service Commission was set up. It was very old. It is a very old matter. Central CSC, Central Service Commission, was set up in 1926, and it was also a recruiting agency like UPSC, SPSC, JSPSC. It was a recruiting agency. It was recruiting public officers, civil servants. Then the Government of India Act 1935, it provided the establishment of not only a Federal Public Service Commission but also a Provincial Public Service Commission. Now we have Provincial Service Commission, means we have State Public Service Commission, and the Joint Public Service Commission for 2 or more states that we discussed. So this is the end of the presentation. So if you have any doubts and question, why state legislature request parliament to make? Okay, because state legislature has one body, that is State Public Service Commission. And for example, there are 2 states or more than 2 states. Both the states want a single joint public service commission. Then they will request for it and it will be created by the parliament. We have already discussed that the chairman of UPSC, State Public Service Commission, Joint State Public Service Commission, chairman members all are recruited by the President of India. The work of Joint State Public Service Commission is to recruit government officer. It is like State Public Service Commission. It is like Union Public Service Commission. It is a recruiting agency, so it will recruit the officers for the state combined together. Okay, so let's check your score. State Public Service Commission performs all those functions in the respect of the central service. No. States are in central, both are different. It is not central service, it is state service. This is wrong. False. A State Public Service Commission conducts examination for the appointment to the service of the center. No. For center, there is UPSC, not SPSC. So again, it is false. The State Public Service Commission takes care of the suitability of the candidate for appointment to the civil service post and promotion and transfer from one service to another person. Yes, it is right. True. The State Public Service Commission represents annually the President a report on its performance. Wrong answer. It does not submit report to the President, but it submit report to the Governor. The Governor places the submitted report by the State Public Service Commission before both the houses of Parliament. No, not both the houses of Parliament, but yes, both the houses of state legislature. The Constitution visualizes the State Public Service Commission to be watchdog of merit system in the state. Absolutely right. The main function is to create merit system for the civil services. The State Public Service Commission is concerned with the classification of service, pay, service condition, cadre, management, training. No, it is not concerned. The Department of Personnel is concerned for all these things. So this is wrong answer. It is up to the state government to accept or reject that advice given by the SPSC. True. Government may accept it. Government may reject the advice given by the State Public Service Commission. So this is true statement. The Joint State Public Service Commission can be created by an act of Parliament on the request of the state legislature concerned. Correct. It can be created. A Joint State Public Service Commission presents its annual performance report to the concerned state governor. True. They submit the report to their respective governors. So share your marks. After presentation 10, Devang and before presentation 6. Okay, so you are doing well. Keep it up, Sujal. After presentation 10 out of 10. Before presentation 5. So you are doing well. All the best. And this habit will make you a very, very successful bureaucrat in our country, that is super class 1 officer. Till then, take care. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat. See you soon.